and welcome to the Knit Girls. What? You said you were ready to
Yeah,
go.
it was like half a second later.
Boom.
You're like, we're doing this.
We're doing it. Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 641. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Monday, the 22nd of January.
Where did January go?
2024. It's been
over a week, because last time we recorded, we talked about there might be a possibility of snow. Well, there was lots of snow.
For us.
Yeah. Over 10 inches.
Yeah, I think my area we only got about 8, but I mean that was still a lot.
When there's no plows or salt
yeah.
or anything, any infrastructure that can handle it. It's taken over a week to thaw out. So it is Monday. I've been off work since Tuesday of last week. We have Monday off for the holiday. And yeah, I was very much ready to leave my house today. So.
Do you think they'll like revoke your spring break or what?
No, they've already. It's state of emergency. They've already forgiven the days. Well, the school board had to vote to agree to pay us regardless, so they did that.
I bet they didn't have to agree to pay themselves.
Well, I think it was they had to vote to do whatever. Anyway, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. So I'm not going to have to make up last week's days. We don't know about today yet. We do have the Friday before President's Day as a snow makeup day. In the past, we've had to go to the school on Saturdays and stuff. That is not going to happen this time. But if we get more snow, they're saying that we'll have to do, like the kids will have to do virtual learning from home. So.
I'm sure they'll be paying avid attention.
Yeah. I'm sure. So yeah, that is what has been going on with us in our lives. Because I've been off, I've gotten quite a bit done. I feel like I've gotten quite a bit done. But, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I don't mind going if you're in the middle of something.
I'm just in the middle of this row.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, okay, I'll go real quick. So, I'm working on the pressed flowers cardigan. This is basically the only knitting I've done this week, aside from a little bit on the hat. But this is a pattern by Amy Christophers. There's like a hat, a cowl, a pullover, a shawl, a cardigan. It's a simple slip stitch pattern, but it's a really beautiful effect.
Yeah.
So I'm using, the white is Barocco Remix Light, and the color is Noro something. It's a Noro, a single ply, like cotton. It's in the show notes.
Huge ball.
Yukata, Noro Yukata. And there are occasionally some sections, like right here, where the color is pretty light. And it's maybe 5 or 10 yards worth. And so I've just been pulling that out and not using it. Because it's a single ply, you could like spit splice or whatever the two ends together, but I'll just weave them in, it doesn't bother me. But yeah, the color's so light that it wouldn't really have a lot of contrast, so I've just been pulling that out as I come to it. It's not frequent enough to really give me any pause, so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm at a point now where the only thing I really have to look at is on the rows where I'm starting a repeat. I just need to count how many like little blips of color before I start the actual flower part. It's pretty intuitive, and at this point,
I love an intuitive pattern.
Yeah, at this point it's just knit. I do need to figure out, because this time next week I'll be in Las Vegas for a work thing. I need to figure out something to take there. I'll probably, take socks, but, and one other thing, most likely. But I don't know what yet. We'll see. Not that I expect I'll get a ton of knitting done, but I
You have
like to,
downtime in between sessions or whatever.
yeah, I like to have options. Plus, these are like, it's a working trip, so every meal is a meeting with like a vendor. Um,
Mm.
yeah, with alcohol, so that's super fun.
Huh.
Um,
I
but
don't live that life. Like,
it's
there
a
has never been a time where a vendor's like, here's some alcohol,
yeah,
teacher friend.
it's a rare thing. It used to be much more
Oh,
common,
I would think in the
but
casino industry it would definitely be more
yeah.
prevalent.
Um, but so I'll have to save up some spoons for that because that is a lot of peopling, and it's an all day peopling
Yeah.
and into the night. So yeah, we'll see how that works. It's been a day today, so hopefully.
At least you're not taking puppies with you.
I mean, this is true. I will be able to like put down a drink and know it's still going to be there in a minute. I will be able to put down my iPad
Oh no.
and know that it's going to still be there and be in good shape. So this is a case for an iPad, and I was downstairs at like 3 o'clock. Let the
Was
dogs
that
out,
today?
came back in, yeah. And this was on it's on top of the Buffy's kennel that's near my bed. But anyway, it's not on the bed. It's near on like a shelf
It's
sort
put
of
up,
thing.
yeah.
And it was there at 3, and I came down at 4 after work, and it looked like this.
Is the iPad okay?
The iPad is shockingly all right. The pen, I have an Apple Pencil, and that was okay because it hadn't come out of the
Oh,
thing.
good.
But yeah, like, this is my life. Like, how. Like,
I can see him opening drawers too. Like, he is a clever
he's
little
a jackass, is what he is.
Yeah.
And like, he had to go and take this thing off the shelf
Yep.
and onto the bed, and then decide to chew on it. And it's like, this is my life.
Aww.
And
I'm sorry.
It's hard because, like, if we didn't have 2 other dogs, I would just make sure he always had a rawhide or something to chew on. But because that'll cause problems between the other dogs, I can't do that. So they do it, every day they get something to chew on, and we separate them, make sure there's no, like, fighting or whatever. But, like, it can't be like that all the time. So I think I'm just going to have to go back to crating him. And I hate to do that, but, like...
It's a safety issue for him, though, too. If he eats something that can block his intestines and stuff. Like...
But, like, here, now, I've had an hour or two to look at this and, like, calm down. But...
We're bringing back up the trauma.
I see this, or like, it happens, something like this, every day.
Yeah.
It happens, and, like, I would never do this, but, like, in my head, I'm kicking him across the room, right? I would never hurt an animal, but, like, in my head, I'm just, like, throttling his little neck.
And the peanut-sized brain that resides in between
his little tiny brain. Like, his eyeball has got to be bigger than his brain. So, yeah. Super fun.
I'm
feel like I'm
sorry.
getting, like, stressed. I'm going to stop. What are you working on?
I'm working on some socks. So
That seems low stress.
My life is very low stress compared to yours. You are always welcome when there is not a foot of snow to come hang out at my house and work. I have a double monitor system now.
You're so fancy.
So I am knitting on the Geektastic is the dyer. It's the Island of Misfit Toys colorway. I think it was the SSK colorway either this year or last year. I can't remember.
I think it was last year,
okay.
Because wasn't Dolly
Parton was a colorway for this year, so that might have been this year. So, yep, I'm knitting on this. I cast on around 32 stitches and went up to 60. It looks very narrow to me, but we'll see. If it doesn't fit me, it will go to Mom, unless you gave yours to Mom.
That looks narrow to you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. It'll probably fit.
I did not give mine to your mom.
Okay. It could just be narrow in my brain. Like,
Yeah, I think
what
it's
is
fine.
spatial reasoning? But, yeah. So it's nice and dense. It's dense for me. So this is on size zeros, and I'm enjoying it immensely. It hasn't gotten a ton of love because I haven't been leaving the house.
Yeah.
So I've been mostly spinning this week, although I did get some other knitting done. So in other knitting news, so last time I showed you all the finished hat, and now there is a little finished mitt. And I have to finish the other mitt. But the wee little mitt took me around an hour. It is some baby mittens is the pattern. It's linked in the show notes. This is the 0 to 6 month size. In the picture, they have them rolled up like this, which is probably how I will hand them off. They use size 2 and size 5 DPNs. I am using some DPNs that I got from Jimmy Beans, and they are their like birthday candle set. So they look like they're dipped in paint at the ends. They're wooden, and the paint is like coming off pretty rapidly on the smaller sizes. But it's fine. It doesn't affect the quality of the DPNs.
Cute gimmick.
Yep. Cute fail. So, yeah, this is Old Rusted Chair in the IJLTYF. Yes. No. There's a Y. I think that Y is not supposed to be. Anyway.
It's a bunch of letters.
It's a bunch of letters that begin with I.
It's in our show notes.
It is in our show notes. So, those two, I'm going to finish the other one tonight, probably. And those will go off to their new home. I'll block them probably the next day. And that will get that off my back. And then the other thing, the big thing that I cast on, is the Stripy Unicorn Sweater by Joji Locatelli.
Whoa!
So, I am using, let me get out the swatch first. So I swatched on 2 different size needles. So I started, it calls for 5s. I went down to 4s to begin with. This was only supposed to be 6 inches across. It was more like 7. And then I went down to 3s, which is a little bit more dense. Still big, but only by 1/4 of an inch.
No,
so I just went down, I just went down a size. Because it does have 6 inches of ease, so I just went down that size. This is a 2x2 striping sequence, except for there, where I did it 4 on purpose so I could tell which size needle was which. But the sweater itself is a 1x1. So it is a raglan hybrid.
That is a lot of stitch markers.
Yes, it is. How kind of you to notice. I won't tell you how many times it took me to set up these stitch markers, because they also need to be different. So there's raglan stitch markers and other stitch markers and beginning of round stitch markers.
So like where certain increases are happening, or like you're switching, doing
sure.
a short row.
But do those increases happen right at those stitch markers? No, they do not. They happen like 3 stitches in.
Oh.
So it's just, I'm enjoying the pattern. It had a really cool way of doing short rows and the 1x1 rib sequence. I could actually show it to you. The pattern itself called for a rolled neck. I'm not a huge fan of rolled necks, so I did do 1.5 inches of ribbing instead. So my neck might be a little bit higher. I am knitting it on the size 3s. I'm using one of Gelby's
stitch stoppers.
Yeah, stitch stoppers to keep those needles on there. These are 20-inch length Addy circulars. I love 20-inch length circulars. There's also lots of ends, because for the short rows, to keep them the 1x1, you're breaking the yarn at certain points. So there is quite a few ends to weave in, which is fine. It was only
once
6.
you got the setup.
Yeah,
like...
once I get the setup, it's still not like a raglan increase where it's every other row at certain points. It's every row for 12 rows. Every other row for 12 rows is different, and then you repeat that a couple times. But I kind of did that for the rib lace raglan, so I think it'll be fine.
I'm sure
It
it
uses
will.
sport weight. This is handspun that I made. It is Herding Cats by Into the World. I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to spinning. And then the other is Round Barn Farm. Their Jacob Sport Weight. It is a woolen spun. So I'm using a worsted spun and a woolen spun together, which is why there's a little bit more color dominance of the bright, but I think there would be more color dominance of the bright anyways.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
I think, yeah. And it'll make it a little bit more lightweight. It's supposed to have like a sweatshirt type feel when you wear it. So I think that'll just add to the coziness. I would not have thought that Jacob would be so soft. But it is really, really soft. Yeah. So it's a lot softer than other Jacob that I've used. It was very inexpensive. I think it was $14 for over 400 yards of a sport weight. So very cost of economical, I guess, for what it is. I can get a sweater out of, I think I'll use a total of maybe 2.5 skeins.
Okay, and it was Round Barn Fiber Mill?
Mm-hmm. I sell them at Wisconsin.
Okay.
So, and they sell woolen spun, and they also do milling as well. So if you have like fleeces to send off.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And they were very, very nice at Wisconsin. So I bought a lot of stuff from them. Those are the 3 things that I have in progress. I do have a finished object. Do you have any finished objects?
Sort of. But
okay. No, you can go. I've been talking a lot.
I'm on the end.
Okay, never mind. I'll go.
Thank you.
I finished my elf baby hat.
Very cute.
Yeah. This top part took a while. It's just like...
Yeah. In the rounds.
Yeah.
But like you spend more time moving the stitches than you do actually knitting them.
For 5 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was a little worried when I got through... Because I used 2 different hand spuns. So this is a chain ply silk merino. And then this is a superwash merino 2-ply. And so I was a little concerned that the colors didn't really work, but I think when it got up to that yellow again, I think they work.
It looks fine to me, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the second size in. And I think I did knit it on size 1s. So it is a little bit more time consuming because it is knit on size 1s using sock weight, but it is a great way to use up extra sock weight
very
scratch.
Cute. That would be good like photo shoot.
Yes.
Prop hat.
Yeah. Or just, fun hat. So, yep, and I think I have a home for it. So, that is it for me for finished objects. But you have a finished object.
I do. So, I have sort of a finished object with weaving, and I have a finished object with knitting. So, this is the Brighter Days hat. God, it's so washed out on the screen.
Disco Electric Clam.
Yeah, it's a little more orange pink than it's showing on the screen.
Yeah, it's like an electric peach.
It's so washed out on the screen. It's not like that at all. But anyhow, I knitted a little bit longer, maybe by about 2 inches than the pattern called for, because I wanted to use more of the yarn. I still ended up with like probably a 10-gram ball, but Kobe said he would like the hat when I was
gone.
So,
no, it's perfect.
It's plenty long. Like,
did he end up having to live in the hotel?
No.
Good.
But a lot of his coworkers did.
Good for him for getting back and forth.
Yeah, I was worried because when he first started driving, he was very like slow and cautious, and then he's not so much anymore.
Yeah.
So I was a
he's
little bit nervous.
He's a 20-something-year-old boy.
Exactly. Yeah. But he hasn't had any accidents, so
since the first For hats?
Just in general.
Oh.
Like, I don't typically knit things, except for socks, knit things this dense. But yeah, I worked on this. I watched a season of Survivor because they put it on Netflix.
Oh, interesting.
A couple seasons, not the whole whatever. But there's the latest one that was on Netflix was Gen X versus Millennials, which was interesting. But like, I'd never watched Survivor before.
Yeah, and that's one of Eloise's favorite shows.
and Holly
Yeah.
too. Who they're local knit friends, but they've also been to SSK if you've been there. But I like the like physical challenge and stuff, but most of the show is like politics and alliances,
Yeah.
and that just stresses me out. So I think I'm done with it. Um, but yeah, so this hat is done. So that's another skein from SSK that
How
is done.
much do you think you have left?
Half, probably, of what I
So
brought home.
like 10 skeins?
More than that.
Okay.
Um, and then I haven't finished the finishing on the towels that I wove. I'm going to
Ooh.
end up with 11, but 2 of them for sure are going to stay with me because one of them I wove with what was left on a bobbin, and it was a different white than the rest.
Oh.
So, like, half of it's one white and half of it's another. And then one is longer than all the others because the math didn't quite work
Yeah.
out. So, those 2 will be staying with me.
Those are pretty.
But there'll be 9 that I'll give away or whatever. And then none of them are perfect. They have like little pulled sections
But
or
that's, I
little
mean, they're
sections
hand
where
woven.
I
Yeah.
didn't, I missed a thread or whatever. But I'm still pretty happy with how they come out. I didn't have to do any hemming on the edges, which I'm kind of proud of because the edges are perfectly fine. I mean, they're not like absolutely razor straight, but
They look good to me.
they're still perfectly fine. Like they don't wave or anything like that. Um, and I just used Jane Stafford's way of doing the edges, which is just you switch the treadles while you've got the beater closed, and that it readjusts the threads, and so it uses whatever it needs. You don't have to like worry about anyway.
Cool.
I'm happy with it. I think I was going to warp for towels again, but I think I'm going to go through some of my bins and maybe grab a couple of skeins of variegated to do like scarves or something.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the towels that I've got, like the kits from Cotton Clouds, I think there's only one that's like a plain tabby weave. Like everything else is like a twill or a waffle or whatever, and I just want to get better at the plain
weave
before I move on.
Joanne, J.S.
Scholar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, J. Scholar. She does a lot with like the Zauber and self-striping. That could be fun.
Yeah, I want to look up self-striping, using like weaving
warping
with self-striping, to see what that would look like. But I've also got a ton of variegated yarn that would look great. So
you also have, that would be a good way to use up some of your SSK stash from this past year if it doesn't have a plan.
I didn't actually get any variegated yarn
because you bought a plan.
Because I went in with a plan, right? Or any fingering weight variegated yarn. I bought a couple of like worsted or Aran, and that I plan to use for hats or mitts or whatever. So typically, yes, it would have been perfectly great to use some SSK yarn. But yeah, so I just turned the hems under 3/8 of an inch, sewed, turned it under again 3/8 of an inch, and sewed. But yeah, I'm really happy with them. They smell good. They smell like Soak's flatter scent or Celebration scent.
I love Celebration.
So if you're a knitter and you use Soak to soak your knits in, they also have like, it's not starch, but like a spray for when you're ironing or pressing your, quilting or whatever.
Your material?
Yeah. And it's the same scents as you get with
nice.
With Soaks, like Celebration or Yuzu or Unscented.
I need to buy more
whatever.
Celebration next time we're in a store that sells.
Yeah, I need to get more Power Scour because I gave you everything I had.
And I am out.
Yeah,
so we need to get another couple gallons probably.
So,
because I have one fleece left and that's it.
Yeah. And I haven't needed any for a while,
It's
but
good
like,
to use for washing. Like, I use Power Scour if I have a stain on my clothes,
hmm
especially a grease stain. It will take it right out.
yeah, or your knitwear. Like, it's a good way to clean,
Yeah.
like safely and not worry about it
You do
damaging.
have, it is a rinse product, so you do have to
Right.
rinse
Yeah.
it, but not like soak where you don't have to rinse. But it is a great product.
But to be fair, soak isn't meant to necessarily clean.
No.
So anyway, spinning. I did finish the first 4 ounces
Yay! Go you!
of the next bobbin.
So you have 8 ounces done now?
I have 12 total ounces done
Look at you.
out of 24. So now I need to take the other bag of fiber down so that I can spin some more. So maybe by SSK I'll have this spun and plied.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that's a great goal.
What about you? You said you got a lot of spinning done this week.
I did. So, the very first thing that I finished, I actually had finished before we had recorded last week, but it was still like drying.
Mm-hmm.
And that is some thin from,
Oh, that's pretty.
yeah, it's from Hello Yarn. It's in the Seething Sea colorway. I did over apply it a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be nice, strong mittens, probably. It is a fingering weight, even though it's around 300 yards. It's a little bit dense because of all the ply twist, but I think it will be good for like fingerless mitts for sure.
Yeah, it definitely makes me think of the sea.
Yeah, Adrienne did a good job with it. It was one of her club colorways from last year, so I have that. And then more of the Herding Cats. So I spun a total of 12 ounces of the Herding Cats, which is an Into the World colorway. All 3 of my braids were in Falkland. I've been, like, for some reason, a couple of years ago, every time Herding Cats came available, I was buying it. And so I had 3 braids, and that was perfect for what I needed for this project. So it's a total of 1,000 yards of a 2-ply. Out of that 12 ounces, which makes it a nice sport weight. We'll see how much of this I need to break into. Oh, I forgot to bring... Oh. All right.
Okay.
Backing up a little bit. I have been working on fixing some hand knits that I did not like the way they worked on my body. So one of those was a Tiff Nealon pattern, and it had, I had knit it out of handspun from Hello Yarn and like the Poison Apple colorway, I believe, and I'd given you the extra skein, and then I took it back to do the repairs. And what it was there was a herringbone trim at the bottom, and it was pulling in.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of giving like a muffin top sweater type appearance. So I cut that out because I tried pulling it out, and it was knit from the bottom up, and it was also like grabby because it was hand spun. And so I ended up having to just cut out that, throw it away. And over the course of this past week, I re-knit like 2 inches of garter.
Oh, okay.
And finished it. And I have that, the rest of that hand spun, which is probably like 300 yards. It would make one of those good those hats really well, to give back to you. And it's sitting on the back of my couch, so I don't forget it. Which I did.
Your sane twine is sitting downstairs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because cool.
She, I needed some of the sane twine to use for a thing in the weaving, and like the day after, she gave me. Like,
I use it for drive bands.
Yeah, the day after, she has this huge cone of it.
Yeah.
And the day after she gave it to me, and I took it home, her drive band broke.
Yeah. So this was spun on the Daedalus Starling and plied on the Hanson Mini Spinner. And then I started my next sweater spin, and this bobbin looks like a hot mess because as I was filling it, I didn't adjust the tension for the last little bit. So it's got some pigtails, but that's just because they didn't pull on. So this is 6.33 ounces of a combo spin of 3 different colors of Hello Yarn. I just tore my fiber, a total of 5 bags, so 1 pound 4 ounces, into bits and bobs, and I've been pulling them out randomly and spinning them. And when I finish this, hopefully it will be a 3-ply worsted weight for Mystic Square. And I'm probably spinning more than I need. But I would rather have more than I
Yeah.
need than less than I need. So the first 6 ounces is done. The second 6 ounces is almost done. If Pearl would leave me alone and stop knocking over the bin, it would be done probably. But she's been extreme. She hates the cold, and she hates, I don't know that she hates the cold. She hates water in all forms. Like, if she could get away without drinking water, she would do it. I have to, like, really watch her to make sure she's drinking water, because she will just not drink water.
That is one of the benefits of the food that I do now, that dehydrate,
Yeah.
because it forces the water back into
Yeah.
the diet.
So, like, she won't drink her water if it's over 24 hours old, even if it's in a fountain. So I have to, like, constantly change it. Anyway, but she's been extra needy. She jumped up on the bed and fell off and has been kind of... She's okay, I think. She's not, like, limping or anything. And then, what I was spinning before my drive band broke is some... At Dixon Fiber Festival last year, Mary and I were walking around, and we went by Hill Heritage Farm and saw this really cool pin drafted top out of their sheep, which was a blend of Cormo, BFL, and Cheviot. So much different breeds, like a very short staple, high energy, crimp-wise breed combined with BFL, which is a long staple, combined with Cheviot, which is a down breed. And I picked up a bag of it, and it takes up a lot of space in the stash. So I was like, I'm going to spin that up over this break. I think I have 8 ounces of it. I'm just long drying it on the matchless. And once I fix that drive band, it will be going much smoother. Because I kind of had to rig something to get it working to finish this up. But yeah, that is what... I've been kind of flipping around between crafts a lot. But that's just something that happens when I'm bored. So, that is what I'm working on when it comes to spinning. What have you been reading, friend? Or doing, besides Survivor?
So, I am still listening to the Leveling Up series. I'm on the 6th book now. This is by K.F. Breen. It's a male-female paranormal romance. The last 3 books have been about the lead female and male character mating, and I'm over it. But I'm
like how you said mating.
I mean, that's what they're calling it mating.
Okay.
Like, I'm not making that assumption. It's because their characters have animal forms as well.
Oh,
so.
okay.
But I'm still there for, like, the weird side characters, because, like, there's a super old vampire there who's, like, kind of cracked in the head a little bit because he's so old, and, like, everybody else has a battle cry, and he goes, woohoo! You know, like,
yeah.
So I'm here for, like, the weird side characters, but I'm sort of over the romance part of it.
Yeah.
I'm reading The Ninth House by Lee Bardugo.
Oh, I tried that.
Yeah, I did too. I tried listening to it.
Yes, that's how I tried it before, and it did not take for me.
Yeah, it's a little bit better reading, even though it is, at least it appears to be a lot about ghosts, which is not typically a thing I'm into.
And that's an adult book.
Hey, please don't. Oh, is that Buffy's okay? Thank you.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Buff.
She knew
it's an
her
adult
was here. Yeah, it's a
book. Hi, baby.
It's about the different, like, secret houses at Yale, like Skull and Bones and that sort of thing.
Which makes me think of, like, Cruel Intentions for some reason.
Yeah, and there was a Skull and Bones movie with Joshua.
Yes, and I think that's why, like, I know that it, like, Cruel Intentions is not like that, but, like, because he was in that, whatever. Yes.
So...
The 90s.
Yeah. I like that okay. I like it enough that I actually bought the book after I do the sample through Kindle. So far that's okay. I've been, like I mentioned, watching Survivor.
Are you going to come back over here, Buff?
Come here, baby. I've been trying to decide whether or not to spend a stupid amount of money on a Dyson Airwrap, because apparently it'll solve all your hair problems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a new thing. Like
No, it's been out for a while.
right, and there's been different versions of it as well. But like I tend to pull my hair out of my face all the time because it's very frizzy unless I spend time flat ironing it. But this amazing hair wrap thing has like a thing that dries and defrizzes at the same time, and I'm like, I just wish somebody local to me had one that I could try.
Yeah, you should ask Hannah if you can borrow hers.
Yeah, I don't know her well enough anymore. I was hoping Holly had one, but
nope, she's got the Revlon.
Yeah.
Which I have that Revlon too.
I have one similar to that,
yeah.
so.
Which I use 0% of the time. Because that was my, I'll use that to like blow dry my hair before I go to school. And I actually had a dream last night about chopping off all my hair. And that is probably what's going to happen this week.
If I had the texture of your hair, I might do something short. Because yours is like, it's not as frizzy as mine tends to get.
Yeah.
So
it's just very damaged right now from all my illness last year. So it's time to cut it off and start anew, I feel like.
Yeah. You should do it. Why not? It's just hair. It'll grow.
I want to. You know I have no problem chopping off my hair.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What else?
Any other TV show? Did we watch the new Taskmaster New Year's?
Yeah, the new Champion of Champions is out.
Oh, cool.
The third one. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't watch it because we typically watch that stuff.
And we have not watched. I told Holly was texting me about the new Drag Race, and I was like, you cannot because Leslie has not been over to watch.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out where we can watch that since MTV's their app is disappearing.
Yeah, which is crazy because where else are you supposed to watch it? Like a Paramount or?
But it's not on Paramount because we checked. The old seasons are. I don't know. Right. I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to invest
maybe
some
one
time.
Of our viewers knows.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you? Are you still listening to that Dragon book?
I finished the Dragon book.
Okay.
And Fourth Wing. It actually won the Alex Award today, which is like an award. Today was like the big awards for the American Library Association.
Okay.
Like Newbery and Caldecott and all that. And it won the Alex Award, which is like an adult book that teens might be interested in. If you are going to give it to a teen, it would be older teen, because there is a lot of sex that I would not feel comfortable with giving to one of my middle school kids.
Yeah.
And also, like, romance sex. Like, she has sex and lightning strikes. You know, like... like, anyway. And I was like, this is good. It's kind of like it's okay. It's like a mix of it gives me very strong Hunger Games vibes, like 20-something-year-old Hunger Games vibes with, like, Throne of Glass. To the point that a main character is killed off, and it, like, I was bawling. I was listening to the audiobook. I don't like it when they kill off. Anyway. People I like, but that's part of those dystopian society books, you know?
People die.
People die. So there's a cliffhanger, like, that it ends on. And so, I did purchase the second one.
Oh, I was going to ask, was this the second or the first one that you...
It's the first. The second one's already out.
Right.
It's going to be a 5-book series.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It is super popular with my young teachers, though. Like, they are all reading it, so...
Yeah, Ashley texted me about it. She really liked it.
Yeah, you can log into my Audible.
So, we'll see.
Yep. Or the public library will have it. I love using the public library for audiobooks as well. I had the second one on hold at the public library, but I had a credit through Libro FM, so I was like, I'm just going to purchase it. So yeah, that's happened. In the meantime, I got The Mona Lisa Vanishes, which is a nonfiction middle grade book about when the Mona Lisa was stolen. So the Mona Lisa was not a popular painting. It just kind of hung out, and it was stolen, and they didn't even realize it was gone for quite a while, until someone who was like working in the space looked up and was like, hey, There's a painting there before.
Stolen from where?
A museum. I think the Louvre.
Oh.
I can't remember now. Anyway, I'm not very far into this book, but it is middle grade nonfiction. Before all this snow, I was writing reading goals with my kiddos, my students, and my reading goal that we came up with, thinking about how I read, was to read 3 nonfiction books this 9 weeks, because I don't read a lot of nonfiction books, middle grade or young adult. So that is my goal, and we talked about how, like, what minor obstacles I needed to overcome, and part of that is just time, so getting an audiobook helps with that. So yeah, what things would keep you from being able to complete your goal. Anyways, it's a whole thing. I'm trying to read more nonfiction middle grade. It's not typically my jam, which is why it's a good goal for me, because I'd like to be able to recommend more.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the Mona Lisa Vanishes. It won an award actually today for Best Nonfiction Middle Grade Book of the Year. So yay. I think it was best. It might have been an honor. I think it was best though. Anyway.
I wonder what changed from it being like a not celebrated piece of art.
This theft, apparently.
Oh.
So this theft happened pre-World War One, and it was just like, it was the true crime that everyone was talking about.
I feel like Gwen would know.
But also, I sent her a link to the book, and she didn't know about it.
Oh, okay. We found something Gwen doesn't
know.
Well,
she didn't know about that book specifically. She might have known about the theft. But it was Italian thieves breaking into a French museum. And so that, at that point in time, was very...
contentious?
Yes. They were not friends.
Okay.
So, that whole World War One thing. So, yeah. But yeah. That is what I am reading. I've caught up on Percy Jackson. It's so freaking good, and the guest stars, perfect casting. I really need them to renew like the next 5 series versus making Harry Potter again.
Wait, they're making Harry Potter again?
Yes. HBO.
Please stop giving J.K. Rowling money.
Yes.
Please.
So I would much rather like Disney pick this up again. We'll see. Lin-Manuel Miranda plays Hermes. It's such good casting. Like, it has been so good. So good.
HBO has a series called True Detective.
Yes. It's set in Alaska with Jodie Foster, right? Yep.
So each season is a totally different, concept, and they're not really connected.
You don't typically do crime stuff.
I don't. So it depends. If the crime has like a weird occult twist to it, I'll usually watch it. So season 1 had Matthew McConaughey, and I think one of his best roles ever, because it wasn't about how sexy he was.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, yeah, he's a sexy dude. But, it's not what it was about.
Yeah, he's very chaotic in that role from what I've read.
Yeah. And, he got crazy, bone thin which, that's got its own problems. But, he and Woody Harrelson is a really hateable person in that series, and he does it well.
I think he plays a good villain in general.
But so season 1 was very good. I've watched it a couple times. Season 2, I couldn't even finish. It was it had this weird sort of mafia thing, and I was just not interested at all. Season 3 with Mahershala Ali was okay. It was a lot about him, he had Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia.
Yeah.
And it was about a previous case and how it was sort of coming to the forefront. But season 4, which is the one that just started, is based in Alaska, and I can tell for sure it's going to have some sort of, not necessarily a cult, but, indigenous or native people,
folklore?
Yes, aspect to it.
Mythology? Yeah.
Whatever the word that it should be. I don't know it, and that's me being ignorant, but like it looks like it's going to be really good. The first episode was very good. I haven't watched the second one. It came out last night, but I will. Because I have no patience. Michael's not going to watch it until the whole series is out, and I'm like, I've got no patience. Like, I've got to see it. So.
Yeah, I caught up on the Percy Jackson, and then I rewatched all of Will Trent because that's coming back mid-February, which I love. And then I started watching Midsummer. There's a new series of Midsummer Murders that came out, so I've been very much doing all the things, much more TV than I usually do.
You've been off all week and you've been spinning, so it's not like you've just been...
Yeah, I also subscribed to the School of Sweet Georgia, which has spinning, knitting, weaving, and other craft videos. Because I wanted to watch their supported spindling videos by Debbie Helds. So, it's like $25 a month, maybe a smidge less. So, I'll try it for a month and then go from there.
Yeah.
I like Felicia Lowe's work that she did for Craftsy, so I'm interested to see what else is out there.
Yeah, I think she did a weaving class for Craftsy that was pretty good, like a rigid heddle weaving.
Oh, cool. I've only seen her spinning class on there.
Yeah.
She did a good color spinning class on there. So
yeah. Anyhow, I've got a terrible memory, so if that's wrong,
it is Felicia Lowe. Oh, the weaving?
The weaving.
I don't know.
Also, I think we have established that neither Laura nor I are any good at geography. And, yes, the Jane Stafford place is off of British Columbia, not Washington.
Yeah, so Canada.
Yes. So, we're aware of our many, many faults. Admitting you have a problem is the first step, right? So I think that's it. I don't really have anything else.
I need to get home before the roads freeze.
Okay. All right, well, you guys have a good week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.